Have you ever tried to relax, but your brain kept reminding you of something unfinished? The task doesn't even have to be important. It can be tiny, boring, or something that would take only 2 minutes. But once it stays unfinished, it starts taking up space in your mind, and it usually gets worse at the worst possible time. You lie down, the room gets quiet, and then your brain whispers, "Remember that thing?" That reminder is not random. Your brain is not trying to annoy you. It is doing what it was designed to do, tracking what is still unfinished. Psychologists often describe this as an open loop. A task begins, your brain marks it as active, but until it is finished, stored, or clearly scheduled, the loop stays open. Imagine your brain like a desk. When you finish a task, your brain can close the file and put it away. But when a task is unfinished, the file stays open. Or think of your mind like a browser. Every unfinished task becomes another open tab. One tab for the email, one for the bill, one for the decision you keep avoiding. A completed task becomes quiet. But an unfinished task keeps making noise. Don't forget me. You still need to handle this. This is not done yet. This is why a task you are not doing can still drain you. It runs in the background, like an app you forgot to close. So the real cost of unfinished tasks is not just time. It is attention. A task can steal energy even when you're doing something else. There is an old psychological idea connected to this. Researchers noticed that waiters could remember unpaid orders very clearly. Who ordered what, and which table still needed food. But once the bill was paid, the memory faded. The waiter no longer needed to hold it in mind. The loop was closed. This became connected to what many people call the Zeigarnik effect. We tend to remember unfinished or interrupted tasks more than completed ones. That is why unfinished tasks feel heavier. Not always because they are more important, but because your brain keeps them active. The moment the task is handled, your brain gets a signal. This no longer needs to be tracked. Your mind is not only looking for success, it is looking for completion. This system is not a bug. It is a survival feature. For ancient humans, unfinished problems were dangerous. Unfinished shelter, unfinished fire, unfinished danger. So the brain learned to keep incomplete goals active. It says, "Not done yet. Keep this available. Don't fully relax." But today, the same system is dealing with modern problems: emails, browser tabs, bills, notifications, unfinished courses, and half-written documents. So when your brain keeps reminding you of unfinished things, it is not broken. Modern life simply creates far more open loops than your brain was built to carry. Today, one person can carry dozens of open loops at the same time: a work task, a family obligation, a payment, a decision, a message, a plan, a promise. Your brain is not a storage device. It is built for thinking, deciding, creating, and solving, not for holding 47 reminders all day. When too many loops are open, your mind starts to feel like a room full of open doors. Every door pulls your attention. Eventually, you don't feel lazy. You feel mentally crowded. This is why you can be sitting with people you love, but part of your mind is still somewhere else, inside that email, that deadline, or that thing you haven't handled. You can even be watching a movie and still feel like you are not fully there. One mental tab is still open, pulling your attention back. At night, open loops often become louder. During the day, there is noise, work, people, messages, movement. But at night, the noise disappears. That is why a problem can feel small during the day and huge at night. The task did not suddenly grow. The world just became quiet enough for you to hear it. Sometimes what you call anxiety is not random. Sometimes it is unfinished mental business, a conversation you avoided, a task you delayed, a decision you never made. If you only say, "I'll deal with it later," your brain does not relax. Later is not a plan. Later is just another open loop. Fine, I'll just make a to-do list. But a bad to-do list can make the problem worse because most people don't write tasks. They write vague clouds. Study, fix my life, get healthier. These are not clear tasks. They are fog, and your brain cannot act on fog. A vague task gets bigger every time you look at it. Study what? For how long? Where do I start? What if I fail? Suddenly, a small task becomes a mountain. Your brain hates vague instructions. If the next step is unclear, the loop stays open, because your mind still has to solve the task before it can do the task. This is how to-do lists become museums of unfinished pressure. Every item feels heavy, but none of them tells you exactly what to do next. The solution is not to write more tasks. The solution is to make the next action clear. A good task is not a cloud. A good task is a door. Study. Better task. Read pages 12 to 18 and write 3 notes. Bad task. Answer emails. Better task. Reply to Sarah about the meeting time. The brain relaxes when the next step is physical and specific. You don't need to solve the entire project in your head. You need the first visible step. So here is the 3-step fix. First, capture it. Do not keep the task in your head. Write it somewhere you trust. Shrink it. Turn the vague loop into a small next action. Not finish video. Write the first 10 lines. Small enough to start. Clear enough to do. Schedule it. Either do the tiny action now or decide exactly when it will happen. A task with no time becomes a ghost. A task with a time becomes a plan. But there is one type of open loop that is heavier than the rest. The emotional open loop. A message you want to send. An apology you keep delaying. A decision you avoid. These loops do not just involve tasks. They involve identity. Your brain asks, what if they judge me? What if I choose wrong? What if I fail? This is where you need to be honest with yourself. Thinking is not always progress. Sometimes thinking is avoidance wearing glasses. Ask one brutal question. What is the next physical action? Send the message. Book the appointment. Write the draft. Say yes. Say no. An imperfect closed loop is often healthier than a perfect imaginary plan. Your brain does not only want success, it wants completion. It wants signals that say, this is handled, this is stored, this is scheduled, this is done. When too many things are unfinished, your mind becomes a hallway of open doors. But when you close the loop, the noise goes down. So the next time your brain keeps reminding you of something, don't get angry at it. Capture it. Shrink it. Close it or schedule it. Peace does not always come from doing everything. Sometimes it comes from telling your brain, this loop is handled. And once the loop is handled, your mind finally lets go.